So, welcome back, all. Welcome back. It's been a few days, and we're sorry that we've missed you. Sometimes life happens, but either way, win or loss, we here at the Reds Disciples podcast are happy to be back. Be here for you all year, for the wins, for the losses, for the joys, for the frustrations, all of that. Again, the Reds Disciples podcast is a companion podcast with the Reds Disciples Facebook group. We are an interactive basketball community that is here to discuss all and everything regarding your easier 17-time world champion Boston Celtics. Hopefully soon to be 18. We'll see the way we're looking this year to start, but it's still very early. But we're here. I am your host, Aaron, and as always with me, I got Billy with me as well. Billy, welcome back.
Happy to be here. Could be happy, but happy.
Yeah. And so again, if you are watching, you are part of the community. We are so thankful you joined us. There are a lot of podcasts out there. You could choose any of them, and many of them are great. But if you take the time to choose this one, first and foremost, we appreciate you. Hit that like and subscribe button. Again, like I said, this is a community podcast. This is the local guy podcast. This is not the beat writer talk to the people podcast. This is the place where you go when you want to raise holy hell about what you saw, or pump your fists in the air when things go great. This is your home for that. So, but with that in mind here, we just finished tonight's really tough loss, a loss that, again, we've seen before. We lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers 91-89, and a game where we had a 19-point lead at one point earlier in the game. And then in the fourth quarter, just kind of let it get away from us, honestly, Billy. It was a 29-15 fourth quarter disparity in favor of Cleveland. After we had a 19-point lead in the third, they cut it to 12 at the end of the third. And then again, our defense, which has been good since we last spoke, defense has really been better overall. But we still continue to be, unfortunately, plagued by inconsistent play, with turnovers, with offensive rebounds, with general spouts of stagnation on offense. Defense has been good, I think, but offense just still has a lot of work to do. Passing has not been great. I know today we had 26 assists against 19 turnovers. But Billy, opening thoughts, what did you see today?
Hello, darkness, my old friend. That's what I yeah, we saw a lot of the issues that we were feeling before. We knew whenever somebody's out, it's who's going to step up. And man, everybody on that bench just failed the test, whether it was Pritchard, who threw away the mask after the first half, which I was hoping would help. It did not. He still went 0 for 5. Whether it was Jabari Parker, who was doing a Jam impersonation. There was so much.
He was doing the most. He was so extra out there.
Yeah, I don't understand what he was on. Whatever coffee, whatever he had before his pregame, he can never do that again. He was playing at a pace like the ball was on fire, and he had to take it to the basket immediately or he was going to explode.
He was on like 15, and he needed to be on like a 7 or a 6. Like, he was way too fast. I thought he was going to dribble right out of his shoes.
Neesmith had all the same problems defensively that the coach kind of called him out for. And I know we all want to see him play, but he just isn't Romeo or Richardson at this point. He will be. He's just not there yet. And we also saw why Juancho doesn't play.
Yeah, we did. Juancho can get hunted on mismatches. So yeah, and I know we've said on this show, I've certainly said, why don't we see other guys? And there are times where you'd be like, maybe one guy here or there you'd like to try. And so I've certainly been someone who's said that. But again, you do see why why it doesn't work, or at least why it doesn't work um, on a regular basis, why they don't regularly play. And it's because Wancho, unfortunately, is like Cantor in the way that if he's on the floor, other teams can hunt him in the pick and roll. And because we switch so much, um, it just exposes him.
Yeah, and Romeo, I loved a lot of what I saw, but as that game got tight, I don't think anybody got tighter than Romeo. He looked so deer in the headlights. I almost felt bad, but they had nobody else they could put in for him. They couldn't play Grant because of the way they were switching. He was getting targeted. They really had nobody else that could have took that role, and they closed with Romeo. But that's tough because you're just giving up nothing on offense. You're playing 4-on-5.
Yeah, Romeo just looked like he wanted to be anywhere else but on the court. Like he as soon as he touched the ball, and at times Pritchard too, when he came out there, you could like I knew in the case of Pritchard, and we talked about him, like we'd like to have a guy like Pritchard out there who can provide some spacing. Right when he broke his nose, like our initial first concerns, Billy, were one, he's never been injured before in his career. How would he respond to that? And two, wearing that mask, and how would he respond to, like, contact, you know, as far as that goes, how would shooting go with that mask? And it's just clear that he just sensed that happen. He has just not been comfortable. Like he has, I think he's been super wary of contact, and he's not playing with the aggressive confidence that we are used to seeing from him. He's just, uh, I don't know if it's the moment is too big for him in his case. I think he's in his head about the injury and the mask, and I think that's a problem for him. And it's going to be a little bit until he gets out of that. He's, like I said, he's never been injured before, so the adjustment for him is going to be continue to be difficult for a little bit. What would you see from Tatum today?
Not a lot besides missed shots. His shooting slump continues. He's frustrated by it. He's missing open ones, and then he's overcompensating, trying to play make, and it's ugly with the turnovers. He is turning the ball over at an alarming rate. 6 today.
6 more today. 4 more for Schroeder, who had 6 in the last game and 8 in the game before that. So, I mean, I guess it's going down. I guess it's kind of going
Progress.
down. It's progress. Maybe next game it'll be too his, and if you're watching this and you've been on the Facebook board, that the topic of Schroeder has come up. I've brought him up. There have been others who've brought him up. It's been a source of debate or interesting conversation of late. The good and bad of Schroeder, or how much people like him, whether or not he should be replacing Marcus Smart with his play. How effective is he? All of that has become a big question of late. Schroeder had 28 points and 3 assists today. Again, shooting numbers have been generally good the last few games for him as far as percentages, all of that. And, much like Jalen, he's as north and south as it gets, which is awesome. I love that about Dennis. And as a change of pace guy, you can see why he's such a great 6-man. Like, and I on that, I've been truly impressed. And when he gets that elbow jumper to go down, he's as good a contributor as anybody. He really is. And so my hope is that he continues to do that. I actually would like to see him occasionally press the ball in the backcourt a little bit more off scores and try to work the defense a little bit. But those are some of the things I like. And what do you like about Schroeder?
He's the ultimate trick or treat player. What I like about him is he does complement Smart very well, because while Smart's looking to pass for first, he's looking to score first, and he's a very good scorer. We cannot deny that. He's so quick. He's so great at attacking the basket. The way his body to draw fouls, it's phenomenal. But he is a black hole. He is not looking to pass, and if he does, you got a 50-50 shot of him turning it over. I mean, his turnover rate is in the 20s in the percentage.
Yeah, it's 22% when I looked at before the game today. Is 22.5% on the pick and roll. When he comes off the pick and roll, his turn, he's points per possession, it's at below 0.8. It's 22.5 on the pick and roll. Like, he comes off those things and he's either getting stripped or he's putting up a shot. He's never looking at the roll man, ever. And so if the roll man is not going to be an option when you come off pick and rolls, that means everybody's going to jump you. And so that's the book on Dennis now. And that's really been the book on Dennis for much of his career. If anyone who's watching this knows Adam Taylor, a good follow on Twitter, a good friend of mine, watches the games all the way over in England, breaks down tape and now analyzes stuff as good as any beat writer, as anybody in the business. He understands the game. And when Schroeder was signed, this first thought was whether or not Schroeder's game complemented the Jays, because he was concerned the fact that Schroeder's not a passing guy off the pick and roll. And all of the things that Adam Taylor said has borne out for what, go back and look and check any of Adam's old tape on Schroeder, some of his podcasts he's done with the Celtics Pride. Those are great. But in any case, as far as Schroeder goes, I love Schroeder, but for me, his usage, I think, needs to come down more than where it is. Because to me, the more he has the ball and the higher his usage, the more it exposes his flaws. He's definitely a less is more kind of guy to me, which is, to me, the reason why he really can't be a starter, I don't think. He's obviously thrust in this position now, and hopefully as guys get healthy again, as Jalen comes back and Josh comes back, we'll see him maybe a little bit less than we are right now. And also handling a bit less than he does. But I feel like, he had 28 points today, and he was actually a -3. When you score that much, you would think you would have a plus, an above zero plus or minus. The other game, he had 38 points, and we'll jump in a little bit on the last game again. But the 38-point game that he had the other day, which was great from a north-south standpoint, all those things that we love about Dennis, for all of that, he was still +3, which to me tells me a number of things. The book on him is already out. Defenses know how to play him, and he doesn't make adjustments very well as a primary ball handler. And that's my concern with a player like Dennis, is he doesn't read defense as well, and he doesn't make adjustments on the fly.
No, we've seen this movie before. It's Terry Rozier. Rozier didn't make the Jays better. He tried to do his own thing. He tried to play with them. He tried to play off them. None of it really clicked. You needed another ball handler with them, somebody to facilitate, and then he could just focus on scoring, kind of like what's going on in Charlotte right now. You have LaMelo basically being the real point guard, and Terry's kind of the side guy, like that I don't know what it is when you have two ball handlers. What I don't want to call it a shooting guard because it's really not that, because they both are the ball handlers, but one's in charge of facilitating, the other's in charge of scoring. And that's what Marcus and Dennis have been doing, and it's worked to an extent, but it's not sustainable.
No, it's not. It's not. And hopefully it won't have to be. Um, but while it is, you're gonna see we're gonna have some of these games where that that unfortunately happens. Um, among things I did like today and that I've liked a lot recently, there's been one guy who I've just been really, really, really impressed with of late and continues to be impressed with, for much of this year. And I think you know who that is. Yeah, yeah. Time Lord has just been absolutely awesome. He's been on fire. His energy has been infectious. He's staying on the court. He's not hacking anymore. He knows where he's supposed to be. Um, Al's influence has been great, just along with his general maturity overall. 12 points, 16 boards today, another 3 block shots, just a continuing a number of games in a row where he's just been outstanding. Had a double-double in the last game, 12 and 10 with 3 more blocks, 16 and 13 in the win against Toronto. Like he's really blossoming right before our very eyes. He keeps this up, he's easily going to outplay that contract he just got. Uh, he's been outstanding.
Leading the NBA in field goal percentage.
Yeah, yeah,
Good old Rob.
yeah.
I like 3 assists. He's got as many assists as Schroeder, who's supposedly a point guard. So
yeah, yeah.
without the turnovers, 0 turnovers, unlike our starting guard, Mr. Schroeder.
Yeah, we don't run much through, we don't use Rob at the top of the key as much this year. I haven't seen that. Last year we did a lot and did a lot of cutting backdoor with him because we didn't have Al. But this year we haven't done that as much. We do it with Al a little bit, but we haven't done that a lot. So that's one thing I thought I was going to see a little bit more this year was a little bit more 5 out than I have, even with Rob. And I feel like I haven't seen a lot of that this year. I was hoping to see a little bit more cutting back door, with those wing guys. I've started to see some. I saw some in that last game with that great play that Marcus made in the previous game, that pass. That was off a cut. We saw some with Grant Williams, off a cut. So we're seeing that a little bit. We're starting to see a little bit more cutting on offense. So that has been a good development. I'd like to see more of that. That's something that we can build off of, is that we've started to see a little bit more cutting offensively. We just need guys more consistently to do that, and we need guys who are going to be what you can deliver the ball. And so, in today's game, I think we all feel like if we had Al and if we had Al and Josh, let alone Jalen, we win this game.
Probably any one of the 3. You could pick
really any one of the 3, and we probably win this game pretty comfortably. But the loss of the 3 was just a bit too much. And even then, like, I hate to excuse a team, excuse the team when you have a 19-point lead and you're doing well. You feel like you should find enough plays to get the win. So it's just a little bit unfortunate when you don't. Celtics fans, it won't always be like this. And so I imagine if you're watching this, you're probably a bit frustrated, and I am a bit too. It won't always be like this. Like, this team has to get healthy. I still feel like a healthy team is a good team. It's just new. We've just been so snake bit by injuries.
I mean, it could be a lot worse. We could be the Hawks. They don't even have injuries, and they're 4-9.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be much worse than this. Um, it's what's frustrating is just when you see we lose in ways that we've seen in the past. That's unfortunate. Um, the passing today was not good. It was very stagnant. Like I said, 20 assists, 19 turnovers today. That's never a good number. That's never a good ratio when you do that. Just, lots of guys, in the fourth quarter, we had 7 turnovers, only 4 baskets. And a lot of that was JT and Dennis just dribbling the air out of the ball and then either making a pass at the last second or throwing something up, which we saw a lot of that last year. Uh, it's funny, Ime made his little joke at the press conference about Brad not passing and those being 26 for all of that. I mean, right now we're
Oh, we're top 10.
21st.
Yeah, they're right. Oh, yeah. In the last, yeah. No, that's true.
We're 21st. So I mean, I guess we're improved, but I mean, we're not like we got a little work to do. We definitely got some work to do in that regard.
Yeah, the stat was the potential assists were top 10, which is really depressing. It just goes to show how bad our shooting is, especially on wide open shots. We're first.
Yeah, I posted that. Little image and on the group. And we were like, I forgot what horrible number was. We're like 26 for like 95 or whatever that number was on that screen capture I posted. And just guys just have not been able to step in and knock down shots. Is this something you feel like Billy is going to come around later? Do you feel like we're going to need to use that TPE to go out and get a guy?
I would love a rotation player, just one more. You could see that we're one short. Even when we have everybody, it feels like you could have one more guy that could sneak in there and bump some of these other guys at the end of the bench minutes down. I don't know who that is. I don't even know what position it is. I always look at like a Josh Hart type, but I don't even know if it should be like a ball handler / wing. I don't know if it's like a real stretch 4. I don't know what it is that they need, but they just need one more body that they can count on. That's just not going to do what like Jabari did today. I mean, that was atrocious what he came in. I don't understand.
Yeah, and I mean, I know the obvious name that people will have, of course, will be Terrence Ross, who's going to be highly sought after. But he's going to be hard to get. Beyond that, I'm not sure. Trying to think of other guys who are going to be available with that 17 million TPE we have, and who might be a trade. We'll see. I saw someone propose on Twitter, like trying to get one of the Atlanta guys. Like, I'd love to get a Kevin Herter type. He'd be good, but I don't know that he's going anywhere. I think he just signed an extension. So yeah, it's gonna be a bit rocky until I think until we kind of get things settled. And if we can just get a stretch of health, a sustained stretch of health for like 5 minutes, like this could be a good team. One thing I did want to bring up, and this is something that happened during the week, is the comments that Marcus made regarding this was after the Dallas game. This was the Wednesday game, and we didn't do a pod after that. I don't think. But after the Dallas game, I forget if we did or not. But after the Dallas game, and of course, Luka hit the shot at the buzzer again on that game. Josh had a good game that game too, but we didn't trap on that last shot, and we had trapped the whole fourth quarter. But on the last shot, we didn't trap. Could have had anybody try to beat us, especially with Luka's history of beating us on last second shots, but we couldn't get it. But Marcus made his comments about feeling like he's being made to stand in the corner a lot and not able to do as much. And guys trap, our stars, and guys, he's not able to get to do enough to help those guys out and maybe help them, they can relocate and him get guys the ball back or get other guys involved so that they can step up and take some of the pressure off. He's like basically saying that, guys need to pass more, and not just that guys need to pass more, but also he's feeling like I am not given enough to do. At least that's kind of how I heard it, is that he's like, I don't have enough to do, and I'm being relegated into this, pass the ball and go to the corner role. And this is a guy who everyone's like, this is one of our pillars. This is the heart and soul. And he signed that contract, and he was like, hey, I want the ball. I want to be the lead guy on this team. And you could tell me what you think, but I argue that he has not been the lead guy on this team.
He hasn't opportunity to. I mean, since those comments, and even a couple games before when he first called out the team and had the team meeting, he's had a 4-to-1 assist to turnover ratio.
He's been awesome.
He's had over 6 assists every game. He had 8 tonight, only 2 turnovers, still keeping that 4-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. And I also wanted to start to create a stat called the Marcus. It's the steal to turnover ratio, because he had 5 steals tonight, and he's had 3 or 4 pretty much every game. He's top 5 in steals now as well. The thing is, he's absolutely right though. He doesn't, because Dennis is going to dribble and go ISO. Tatum's going to dribble and go ISO. They're letting Marcus do it at times, but there's also, it's like your turn, my turn stuff, which I absolutely hate. And that didn't work. It didn't work for the Heat when LeBron and Wade tried it. And it's not going to work for us now. It's not like, okay, Marcus, let's run offense now. We're done with the ISOs for a minute. Like, that's not basketball.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like Marcus knows that. And he has the highest on-off differential right now on the team. He's at a plus 15, which is higher, which I think is double the next guy, or close to him. It's at least 50% more than the next guy, which I think may be Al. And he's not shooting nearly as much right now. Like the things that people used to complain about with Marcus for too many shots, will Ime nip that in the bud. I mean, whether it's Ime nipping in the bud or it's because other guys are just, like Dennis, like Tatum, like, whoever else are simply taking more shots. Marcus has played the back row. He's like, I am not going to take that many shots. Like the complaints that we had about Marcus, the traditional complaints, they are not, like, he still hasn't shot the ball that well. He's still not shooting the ball that well, but he's not taking that many shots. He's still passing the ball well. And he's still doing it from maybe a traditional off-guard spot in a sense. I would have liked to have seen Smart on a team where he's the smallest guy. In some sense, maybe it doesn't matter, but I would have liked to see Smart as the primary ball handler. And we'll still get to see that obviously as guys get healthy. And hopefully we'll see more of it. But I mean, I'd like to see Smart. I like to see Smart on the floor when, and I need to take more notice of that. And if you're watching, help me out. But I'd like to see what the offense looks like when Smart is the smallest player on the floor. He can guard big guys and he can handle the switches and all of that, as opposed to him playing with a smaller guy all the time. And especially a guy who is dominant on the ball, like Schroeder, like Kemba, like Kyrie, like IT,
Rozier.
all those archetypes that Smart has had to manage and play next to the entirety of his career. And I'm sure people get to see that during practice and all, but I don't know. I just like to see, like, in a live game, in game and stakes that matter. Like, I'd like to see, I don't know, I'd like to see Smart play that a little bit more. And I think eventually we will get to see that, but I don't know. It's one of my things.
Fair.
So
Monday, the rematch. Hopefully,
yeah,
Jalen.
yeah.
That's the word. That's the little buzz that Jalen might be ready.
I certainly hope so. He is definitely needed. I wanted to see that kid Mobley today. I thought he was a good player.
We saw him, all right.
Yeah, he's a good player. 19-9 tonight. Had some big block. Had that great block on Tatum. I knew that was a block. As before they even went to review, I was like, that's a block. And he played outstanding.
Yeah, I don't know if you can call the Rookie of the Year race in November, but I'm calling the Rookie of the Year race in November. Mobley's my Rookie of the Year. I love this kid, and
he's outstanding.
And like Robert Williams said after the game, what are your thoughts about Mobley? He's tall as hell.
he's got serious wingspan.
Yep.
He's got serious wingspan. He's got length. He looks like a young AD.
That jumper is smooth.
It is silky for a player as young as he is. He's super young. He's what, 19 now? I don't know. He's
baby, just USC.
That jumper is silky 20. Right now for a player as young as he is. He's 20, but he's going to be a nice player for the Cavs. They got a good one with him.
And I like Garland, man. I think Garland's really good. I would move off of Sexton and just keep Garland out there.
That's supposedly what the plan was before Sexton got injured. I forgot he had been injured. I was asking for this game, like, what happened to this guy? But yeah, he's injured right now. But yeah, Garland's a good player. Garland's a good player. They got a nice nucleus. They play hard. They fight. They're now 9-5 after this game. So they're fighting. They play hard on that team. And so they look good. What do you feel about the job that Ime has done up to this point? And I'm looking on social media. I'm checking some of the places I tend to frequent on our board, on Real GM and others, and Ime's starting to catch a little flack, starting to catch a bit of flack. I know one of the turning points in this game was this stretch of, I don't know, it had to be at least 7-8 minutes where we didn't really score at all. And one of the lineups we had on the floor at that point was an all bench lineup where none of the starters, neither Time Lord or Smart or Jason or Dennis were on the court you had Pritchard and Naismith and Langford and, those awful minutes from Jabari Parker and Grant Hill, I believe. And uh, that was a lineup that I think Ime was trying to buy time for the starters, but it just didn't work. It just didn't work, and it snowballed quickly.
Yeah, I think a lot of that's reactionary. I mean, we got to remember it's a back-to-back on the road. He has to try to steal minutes like that.
Right, and so I agree that he does. I just
Also,
wondered if he could have staggered a little bit better.
but like I said, it's really unfair the bashing he gets, because if he doesn't do that and he overplays the starters and then Rob's in the 40-minute mark, Tatum's in the 40-minute mark, all those guys are there again. Why don't we see Neesmith? Why don't we see Wancho? Why don't we see this one? Like, we've heard him get it both ways, and all they're doing is just judging the result. They're not criticizing what he actually did, because he's done it both ways and he's got shit for it. It's like lose-lose.
That's fair. That's fair.
I mean, the fact of the matter is the team is playing better. They have the number one defense in the NBA for the last, 10, 12 days. They
Yeah,
are.
I mean, and this game will certainly help that as far as that goes. Like I have to say, as bad or as frustrated as some of us are feeling, one takeaway is Ime said that defense was going to be the identity of this team, and on that part, he's delivering. Defense is 100% the identity of this team. Offense is going to have to take its time coming around. And he said that. He said that it would, that he wanted to build defense first. And that identity so far is coming through. We're a good defensive team.
And I want to just stop the stigma. This isn't last year's team. Out of the 13 games so far this year, they played one stinker. The first game against Toronto, they got the payback. The other ones, you have 3 overtime games. 2 of them were double overtimes, a Luka buzzer beater, and then a Bulls game where you gave up a 19-point lead, and a game tonight where you gave up a 19-point lead. It's not like the team isn't playing hard. This isn't last year's team where they just, I don't know what the hell was wrong with the last year's team. I'm just going to call it like brain fog, like from COVID. But this isn't last year's team. All of their losses, sub the Toronto one, everybody has a stinker. They played well for most of the game, just didn't close.
Is it fair, just from that standpoint, because I know people are talking about this. Is it fair to criticize whether it be the players or the coach for what maybe feels like this is a continuation of patterns we've seen in previous years? I think you made excellent points that this is not the same team, and it's not. A lot of these players are different. We've got different veterans in here, different coach. Like, there's a lot of different on this team right now. So all of your points have a shit ton of merit. Is it fair for people to be upset and say, well, we keep losing big leads like we did last year? Because I know I hear that. I know I read that anyway. It's like that we still have difficulty closing out games. Is it who do we blame for that? I hate saying it that way. So let me rephrase. Who should take maybe more of the brunt of critique for this, of criticism for this? Should this be on players who are still slow to adjusting to new ideas or new offensive systems, or new players that they're not familiar with? Or is this an issue where the coach is just maybe still not being as imaginative, or not holding players accountable, or whatever, insert, criticism, blah, blah, blah.
I love this. The blame pie.
The blame pie, if you will. Great.
The biggest slice of the blame pie, and it's going to come with it when you're the best player on a team, is Jason Tatum's shooting. You're shooting 39% from the field. You shoot your normal percentage, you're in the 40s, you're, efficient. You're doing all the things that a Jason Tatum can do. What are we? 10-3, maybe 11-3, or 11-2, I should say. I mean, that's how thin the margin for error is. We're playing these games down to the freaking wire with our guys shooting what, 39% from the field, 33% from three. Like, it's not a surprise. It's actually a surprise we're not like the Hawks. We've, I mean, Jalen kind of saved us in the beginning, and then when he went out, we had this little Schroeder run. But it's got to start at the JT. We go as
we say all the time, we're only going to go as far as your stars take you. Right now, Tatum is shooting 6 points below his career high from the field and 6 points below his normal 3-point shooting. That's considerable. That's considerable. You know, we all had images of Tatum being potentially a 30-point scorer this year. If he's shooting at his normal percentages, he would be a 30-point scorer this year. And so right now he's averaging just shy of 24 points a game. He's rebounded really well. I think that's something that's picked up. You know, he's been terrific at that. But yeah, you're right. The shooting just has not come around. He's finishing at the rim is also just really suffered as well. He's not. I remember was it a couple of years ago that he was slow to come around until late in the season with finishing at the rim, and then he picked up late.
Yeah, that must have been not the bubble. It might have actually been the bubble season just before the COVID break.
Yeah. So, and like I said, I've said this before. I feel like water eventually seeks its level, and so, you know, a guy like Tatum is too good to be at this level all year. Eventually, he's going to catch a heater. You know, player of the month level kind of stuff, and his game will pick up. And when it does, I think we'll see that from the record standpoint. We'll see other players pick it up as well. And that'll change things. But you're right.
It's not like the East is some gauntlet. I mean, Miami's lost 4 out of the last 5. Philly's lost 4 straight. The Knicks lost 2 straight. I mean, everybody is going through it. It's just we got our little spurt out of the way first, hopefully. And once Jalen comes back, we can kind of rack off a little run here.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point as well, Billy. As far as how the standings are going, to a degree, down is up is down. Milwaukee is right now is out of the playoffs. You know, they're not even. They're 6 and 7, just like we are. And Philly is 8 and 6. Washington is the best team in the East right now. Washington. You know, we all kind of laughed about that, but right now they're getting it done. They beat us twice. You know, Chicago is 8 and 4. You know, they got shellacked yesterday by Golden State, but they've been well. Golden State is a team who, without Clay, I think people thought that they would still be lingering around maybe 6 or 7 for much of the year, you know, because they had Steph, but they still like youngish and not a lot of veteran. Not sure if they have a lot of veterans they could count on. Obviously, getting Iguodala back was really great, but they've started off like a house of fire. You know, they're 11 and 1. They're passing the ball all over the place. They've been great. We thought Phoenix would come back down to earth. They're still 8 and 3. They've still been playing really well.
And they had a slow start.
The Lakers are 7-6. LeBron's been out. They've had some players in and out as well. New Orleans has been putrid. I saw this tweet the other day talking about Snacks Williamson. They had they posted this image of Zion's face over this, like, I think Cadillac from the Cadillac, I think his name is Cadillac or something from the N1 mixed tour, was like,
Yep.
it's got to be a good 350.
We- all right.
Imposed it instead of the ball they had him holding like a bag of McDonald's. It was a mess.
Yeah. Fun fact about him. That's Escalade. He's Mark Jackson's
Escalade. That's what I
brother.
said. Cadillac Escalade. That's what.
Yeah. That's Mark Jackson's brother.
Is that right? Really?
Yeah. You would not
No
have
way.
thought.
I did not know that.
You call them Biggie Smalls when they walk next to each other. One's big, one's small.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I did not know that. I did not know that. See, I see. Disciples, you learn something new every day today. I bet you were today years old when you knew that Escalade was related to Mark Jackson. Speaking of color commentators, God, I hate the Cleveland color guy. Oh,
How bad were they today? I mean,
I just generally dislike listening to the Cleveland color guy. Like to me, he just adds nothing to the game. Like, I don't know, and maybe it's because, maybe it's because we're so fortunate here in Boston. Obviously, Gorman was honored recently, got to the Hall, they celebrated 40 years. We are so very blessed as Celtics fans for the play-by-play and color guys we have. I'm not a big Scal fan, but I mean, especially play-by-play guys with Gorman, with Randy,
yeah.
And Max is good. Scal at times is tolerable when he's not picking on Abby for no reason. Either way, we had Heinzen for forever. We had Tommy for forever. Like, we're so blessed, so almost to the point of being snobby about who we hear for play-by-play and color guys. And that Cleveland color guy, he's just, I just think he's awful. He's annoying as his voice, like, makes me want to bang my head against the wall.
I couldn't believe, like, they're the Cleveland broadcast. How many times were they going to call Denzel Valentine Denzel Washington? I'm like, that's your own player. You got to get that right.
Right.
They probably could have used Denzel Washington. God, Denzel Valentine's terrible, ain't he? Every time he shot, great. I wanted him to shoot every time he got the ball, and he sure did.
Yeah. No Lauri Markkanen today. He's been, I guess he's injured. I don't know if he's in protocol or if he's injured. And no Lauri Markkanen today.
Yeah, I would have liked Lauri. I like what we've seen from him in his short Cleveland stint so far.
It's an interesting threesome that those bigs they have rotating in. I always loved Afro Samurai. First of all, that's the best nickname in basketball. I'm sorry. Afro Samurai. He's one of my favorite players who's not a Celtic. I love that guy. Not afraid to dunk on anyone, not afraid to go up and challenge anybody. Love that guy. I would take him as a Celtic in a heartbeat. Afro Samurai, obviously, you got this Mobley kid who is obviously a star in the making, a superstar in the making. But then also you have Mobley, who adds a little bit different. You add something different than the other three guys. And if you really want to talk it out, add it all, like, we didn't even get to see Taco today. Like, I wanted to see Taco dominate. That would have been great. But no, strangely enough, no Taco. I thought they could have thrown him in at point guard, but whatever.
Your guy.
Right? Oh, man. I miss Taco.
Did you get to see that Real Sports piece from like 2 weeks ago on HBO? It was all about Giants, and Taco was one of the ones interviewed. He comes off so well. If anybody gets the chance to track it down, it's really sweet and really nice.
No, I'll have to check that out. It's on where?
HBO Real Sports, the Brian Gumbel show.
Oh,
Every week.
Okay.
Yeah, they do those little, like, kind of like deep dives into whatever topics, and they just did it on Giants. So they had a bunch of like 7'5", 7'6" guys. And of course, everybody wants to talk about Taco, and Taco just comes off just as perfect human
course,
being.
man. He's
Just
the
such a
man.
nice guy.
Taco's the man. Like, if we're gonna end this podcast today, like you gotta end it off on a good note, like as far as Taco is concerned. And so I'm all about Taco. I still weep uncontrollably when I realize he's no longer on the team. Um, one of my one of the sad things, but I wish him well. I wish him well. He's another guy who I think he'll do stuff in the NBA, but he's going to do something great even after the NBA. He's just a good dude. So, uh, 2 days from now, we get the Cavaliers again. Are we playing at Cleveland again on that one, or is that at
I've
home?
never seen that before, so it threw me off, but apparently so. So are they just going to stay the night in Cleveland? Because I feel bad for the guys tomorrow because, yeah, Cleveland's Cleveland.
That's weird.
I've never
That's a
seen.
weird. I've never seen that.
I've seen a home and home where you play at home and then you
Right.
play.
That's what I thought. I was like, wait a second, is this a typo?
I've
No,
never.
so we are actually going to stay in Cleveland and play another game.
Well,
So
thankfully there's no Cleveland nightlife, so I don't worry about any of the guys getting in trouble.
yeah. Only one who I'd worry about if that happened is if Terry Rozier was still on the team. He's a Cleveland guy.
Oh yeah, you know what? He is a Buckeye through and through. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So other than that, hopefully we'll get Jalen back for this game. So disciples, if you're frustrated, we feel you. If you're positive, if you're still positive that this is, it's still early. Like I said, this is game 13 of 82. And, like Billy said, we could have a worse record. There's been a couple of breaks here or there. We could easily be a lot better than we are right now. Like I have to feel like two things. If there's two things that you can take away from this to be more positive, one, as frustrating as Jason Tatum has been right now, and he's in a really bad stretch, and we there's nothing wrong with acknowledging that he's in a really bad stretch. Like history of Jason Tatum says, this is not how he's going to finish this year. How he's playing right now is not how we're going to be talking about him after game 82. There's just no way. That kid is too good. He's just too good. He's shooting 6 points below his field goal and 3-point shooting. There's just no way there's no reason we should expect that to be the case throughout this entire year. Eventually that will right itself. It will. He's going to have to catch a heater in order to do it. And when he does, we're going to reap the benefits from it. Because I really do think this defense is going to be here all year. That is one thing that Ime has done right. I think the defense is here, and I think it's going to be here all year, especially with Time Lord playing just outstanding basketball. Al Horford playing outstanding basketball. And the other thing is like just health. Just health. If we can just get a stretch of health, like right now, as frustrating as it is, I wish I could, donate a hamstring to Jaylen Brown. But if we get guys like a whole team healthy for a minute, we're going to play some good basketball soon. And then, at the deadline, maybe we make a deal. Maybe we find a guy who can help us, add that one guy, Billy, like you were talking about, that maybe helps push us over the top a little bit, and we can maybe catch fire late in the season. So it's still really early. I get frustrated. Everybody gets frustrated. I have my issues with players. I've said that, but this is still a good team. This is still a good team there. They're not all there yet, but the bones here are still really good. So we have to remember that. All right. But with that said, Billy, any other words of wisdom or anecdotes to close us out?
It feels bad because we got the bitter taste at the end, but we have won 4 out of our last 6 games. It doesn't feel like it, but we have. We go through stretches like that the rest of the way. We're going to be just all right.
Right. Absolutely. So again, if you made it to the end of this, congratulations. Hopefully we gave you some good to end this, so you feel you calm down, feel good about this going into the next one. So yeah, like it's definitely not all bad here at all. Sometimes maybe feel like it is. Sometimes I even act like it is, but it's really not. It's really not. And so, but we'll see you on Monday, and we will try to get our revenge on Cleveland, get back to 500 again, and just try to move from there. Hopefully, we'll get Jalen back, and we'll take it from there. Patriots game tomorrow. We're playing who?
Oh, good question. Let's get a little NFL schedule. I'm a Dolphins fan. I already got my win for the week.
Oh, right.
So the
Right.
Pats
A
are
Vegas
playing.
guy who's a Dolphins fan. That's so bizarre.
I was a big Ricky Williams fan as a kid, and we didn't have a team out here. So that's where he played his football in the NFL.
What about when he was at New Orleans?
I actually did like him at New Orleans too, and I followed him to the Dolphins. But yeah, I did not stick with the Saints, thankfully. Well, I guess not thankfully. At least I would have a Super Bowl if I would have stuck with that one. But
Oh, that's right. We get the Browns. We get the Browns.
yeah,
Post
got the Browns.
OBJ. All right. So, all right. You're a weird dude, Billy. You're a weird dude.
Vegas, man, we got our teams all over the place, man.
Yeah.
The Devils are a hockey team. Well, until the Knights came.
All right. Well, all right, y'all. We're gonna sign off, but appreciate. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. You know who we are. You know what this is. All right. Billy, any last words?
Go Seas.
All right. There it is. All right. Everyone have a great one. We'll see you Monday.